Hey, what's the deal, people? It's your boy Big Star Raw Sports. RawSports.tv is the website. If you've been in tune to the Raw Sports Legends Week series, you know that all of the previous Legends Week episodes you can watch them on the website or the YouTube channel. If you're not familiar with the YouTube channel, make sure you go to YouTube and put in Raw Sports Films. You'll see all the past episodes of Legends Week, man. Tonight we got a classic. We back with a classic. My man Dante Bright. He's right on it, man. We're gonna get right to it.
What's up, fam?
Dante Bright, the legend
What's up?
in the
What's
building.
up
Was
with you?
good.
Shit, just chilling, watching the game, just laid back. That's all. Just
Hey,
taking it easy.
I know you just saw that double overtime classic, right?
Right. Exactly. That was a good one.
For
The bubble
sure.
been good. The bubble been good so far.
Yes, sir. It's been very entertaining, man. Hey, just wanna. I was just about to, give a, little introduction, man. I'm so excited, man. This is Dante Bright featured here on Legends Week with Big Star, man. I'm totally a fan, lifelong fan. I'm
Appreciate
class of
it, bro.
'95. You a couple years older than me, but
Right.
I was that era was pre-YouTube, pre-social media.
Correct.
So people's high school careers, you didn't hear about it unless you got like the Street and Smith magazine, stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
But come, watching college basketball on Saturdays and all that, you saw these players, or McDonald's All-American game, and then you seen them play in college, UMass. I mean, that was classic golden years of UMass that you were a part of, man. And I was definitely tuned in back then, man. So it's a pleasure to have you here on Legends Week, man. Legends Week with me, man. It's definitely a pleasure, and it's great to have the opportunity to pay homage to your legacy, man.
Man, like you say, man, thanks for having me. Thanks for reaching out, man. Like I said, it was a no-brainer. Somebody take time out, who they said they've been watching me, when I was at UMass, why not, give back, And there's no way of giving back. Like I said, once again, I appreciate it. And like I said, I got a lot of love for Philly.
No doubt. I appreciate it, man. Well, two things, man, before we get into it real quick. One thing is Instagram, they only give us hour blocks to talk. So if we start to close on our first hour, we'll just end this one. I'll save it, and then we'll just come right back, pick up where we left off.
Okay.
And at the very end, if we have nice audience, we'll go and have a nice little Q&A. Let the people go back and forth and ask you some questions if they have anything for you. And two main goals here at Legends Week, man. I like to tell all the guests. This is just the reason why I do this is this is just my gesture, or my contribution to helping to solidify your legacy, man. I never want anyone to forget about, Dante Bright and all the things that you've given to the game, your contribution to the hoop culture, man. So I just want to, this is my thank you, to all the years of entertainment and all the things that you've done on every level. And then two, I deal with a lot of, current, high school athletes, helping, promoting them and, going to their games, filming highlight reels and all that stuff. So the younger kids that I deal with now, this is a form of education, to let them know who the guys were that laid the framework and the foundation before them, so that they can learn from you guys' stories, pay homage. And, that's what it's like here on Legends Week, man. Just paying homage to the GOATs like yourself, man.
Man, I look at myself just like a regular guy, man. I'm just somebody that's a round-the-way guy, man. I don't look at it like that. But, like, once again, man, it's respect. It's like all the hard work. It paid off. Like you say, I didn't get a chance to play in the NBA, but I got a few years overseas. Like you say, I got a chance for the national championship in high school. I got a lot of accolades in high school. And like you said, basketball took me a lot of places, met a lot of people. And like you said, it's my way of giving back. That's why I was happy to come back, to Baltimore. I was in Boston for like 10 years, and I moved to Atlanta for like 2 years. And I'm like, you know what, it's time for me to go back home, man. Like you said, I'm not left. You know what I'm saying? I'm not some out here, doing the wrong things or nothing like that, So I always wanted to give back. I always worked in the school system when my career was over. I worked in the school systems in Boston, down in Atlanta. I worked here, juvenile, group homes here, worked with gangbangers here. So,
oh, no doubt. That's what's up, man. You really back in the trenches, really giving back. That's what's up.
I mean, like you say, somebody gave me a chance. Baltimore gave me a chance. So, why not, give back information that was taught to you through your passions.
Of course.
So another child, another kid that said, they just dying to me, who's this guy, Dante Bright? Everybody hear about him, but, I don't know who he is, but like you said, I'm a round-the-way guy, man.
No
Somebody
doubt.
you can see, on a daily basis,
Yeah.
keep a smile on my face, like I say, and I'm always giving back, man. And I'm going to do that, until, my time is up.
No doubt. Hey, real quick before we get into it, man, it's a young guy who just joined, and this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's a young kid. If you see in this comment section, it says Malachi Palmer just joined. Malachi's from the Pennsylvania area, Harrisburg, the capital of Harrisburg. He just finished 8th grade, going into 9th grade. I mean, he's a rising, just like yourself. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely going to be on the radar. You'll definitely be hearing about him. He's going to be, he's already kind of like nationally ranked. Already has,
Okay.
one college offer. So, a kid like him, hearing your story, hearing about your journey in high school, transition to college and all that, it's really good for these young kids to hear these stories, man. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, man. Hey, so we're going to get right into it, man. We're going to play a quick game. I call it 10 random questions. I'm going to just ask you 10 random things just to kind of, get your wheels turning and warm you up a little bit, all right?
Right.
All right. So you grew up, kind of like in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? And, when the culture was real, TV shows, fashion, breakdance, and all that kind of stuff. Coming up in the 80s, what was your favorite TV show or cartoon back then?
The Flintstones.
Flintstones?
Yeah.
No doubt. Favorite, most points you ever scored in a game at any level, college, summer league, high school, anything?
The crazy part, I had about 50 just after I stopped playing basketball. Matter of fact, it was like 5 years ago when I came back to Baltimore, my first game.
Got you.
No hype. It's an adult league for like 40 and over, but they had some younger cats in there. First time, people seeing me in years. I came in there, showed them, I'm still in shape, so let's get at it.
That's right. I think I saw on your Instagram page, I think I may have saw a couple flicks of like that, the 40 and over league.
That was the Legends game.
Okay.
Game at the Dome. That was at the legendary Dome.
Okay.
So that was another way, like you say, the kids see the guys that played before them, get them a chance to see. Yeah, that was pretty good too. I did my thing too.
No doubt. Right. So for us outsiders, individuals in Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, when the Wire came out, the Wire series, I mean that the Wire, Sopranos, those type series were just crazy. So for us on the outside watching the Wire, like you growing up in Baltimore, how much of the Wire series was a reality, and how much of it was kind of fictitious, but how much of that was real?
Like I said, I didn't live on the west side, I lived on the east side, but that's Baltimore. I can't pretty much say probably about 85-90% of stuff, was real.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, man, Baltimore's Baltimore. Like you said, that's why I'm back here. Like you said, it's a fresher breath air. It's not just me. It's a whole host of guys that's out here. The guys that's in the pros, the guys that's playing overseas, kids they train us in college. But like you say, with me having a name and did it on a real big stage, and still, like you say, still can play ball, still can go out there and play ball with the younger cats. Ball is the way to get away from stuff like that.
Of course, yeah.
That was the outlet. It took me from the alleys to the Rex.
Mm-hmm.
Dunbar took me to UMass. UMass took me to overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Then back, like you say, give them back. Like you say, there's some kids down here. It's not just in Baltimore. Philadelphia, the same. Like
of course,
same type of cities. Same type of cities. Tyrone, my teammate.
Yes, Tyrone Weeks, legend for sure.
Rasheed Wallace, Sean Smith.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Ern McKee.
That's right.
Like you say, Mark Jackson. I can go on and on. Like you say, Turk and Mott.
That's right. All the names. That's right. All the guys, for sure. For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So like you said, they all go through the same type of trials. Like you say, and a lot of them guys, like I say, they give it back to Ern McKee's coaching.
Uh-huh.
Mark Jackson, I seen him on the AAU scene with his team.
Exactly. Yep.
Like he's 7 feet already.
Yeah, I think his son, the one in middle school that's in 7th grade, he like 6'5" or something like that.
Exactly. Might be bigger than that. When I seen him, he was about 6'5".
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying?
Hey, speaking of older guys and stuff, next question. Do you still keep in contact with some of your old teammates, like your UMass guys and everything?
I'll talk to Tyrone Weeks. That's almost like every 2 to 3 weeks. Like you said, when I was living in Boston, Tyrone Weeks, he resided in Providence.
Okay.
His son played at UMass, and he got another son that's about 6'5", 6'6". I think he's right going to the 12th grade. Mm-hmm. But, he used to come down from Providence to Boston to see me all the time,
Gotcha.
We real dudes.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So we can connect.
Got you. Coming up in the Baltimore area, who were some of your, some of the players that were either some of your peers or maybe a couple years older, some of the legends or just really good players in your area that you looked up to or that kind of inspired you playing ball?
For one, Sam Cassell. You know, we from like the same area. You know, he lived on Marshall Street. I lived on Master Patterson Park. That's like 5 minutes away. You know, I seen on a daily basis. He used to take me to hoop with him.
Got you.
He recruited me his last year at Dunbar. I was in middle school, Hampstead Hill, the same middle school. He went to middle school. He went to the same middle school I went to.
Okay.
So Coach Pompey and another the center, Hensley Parks, they used to come to Hampstead Hill like every other day.
Got you.
Every other day, you know, so they wasn't trying to let me get nowhere. So in connection with that, my principal, Miss Whitland, she was the principal at Dunbar before she came to Hampstead Hill. So
okay.
Connection. So
got you.
Sam, Spencer Ringo, even like you say, Terrence Brown. Now his name, he changed his name to Terrence Alexander. You know, he was another one. We peers. We played at Dunbar together. Somebody that I looked up to. You know, he had a real big name coming up. Somebody that that I had to compete with.
Of course.
See if I wanted to be on that type of level.
Got you.
Skip Wise. It's so many you can't even say. It's just so many. You know, I don't want to leave nobody's name out. You know,
of course.
I want to get mad.
Yeah. Hey, my next question, I kind of on those same lines. In every city, you know, whether Chicago, you know, Los Angeles, you know, especially here, you know, Philadelphia, we, you know, Sad-Eye Watson, you know, New York, like guys like Pee Wee Kirkland. Who's somebody from Baltimore that's like a legend, like playground legend that you know, didn't make it to may not have made it to college, you know, to the pros, but I'm talking about like somebody that all the pros from Baltimore still talk about, like, no, this guy was better than all of us. Every city has those guys. Who was somebody that you can think of?
Skip Wise.
Okay.
Played at Clemson. I think he was a freshman. I think he got freshman of the year or player of the year as a freshman. He played there with Tree Rollins. He might have tried out a little stint with Golden State, you know, but things happened back then. You know, we're not getting to that. But that was somebody that, you know, I was in Utah, you know, for Utah Jazz. And I got people out there was talking about him.
Gotcha.
So, like I said, I say Skip Wise, he's probably the best player that I know of, you know, from Baltimore City.
Got you. Who at any level, summer league, college, high school, pros, who's the toughest player you had to guard? You think?
Mark Archer.
Mark Archer? Yeah, tell me about that.
Young boy was tough at a young age.
Yeah.
Young boy was a grown man. And I give respect. You know, if somebody tough, I'd be like, yeah, he all right. Mark was a bad boy. He can bust you from like 5, 6 different ways.
Yeah,
you know, he played at Temple.
Got you. Your favorite sports movie of all time? One of your favorite sports movies?
The one with Ray Allen.
He Got Game.
Yeah, He Got Game.
Got you, for sure. What other sports did you play growing up besides basketball?
Baseball was my first love.
Oh, was it?
Baseball family.
Okay.
Yeah, if the scouts would have came down, you know, back then, my pops definitely would have been somebody that definitely would have been looking at. You know, in baseball, my mom, my cousin Keith Booth, you know, baseball. Then, you know, as I got taller, then I was introduced to basketball. But football, you know, I played it all, but, you know, I stuck with.
Yeah, so had not basketball took
definitely
you, you know, baseball would have been your thing.
Oh, definitely baseball.
Gotcha. And I heard you mention also Keith Booth. Keith, that's your cousin. You said.
Yeah, that's
what's up. That's what's up. I didn't know that. Learned something new today. Last question to 10 random questions. Your favorite NBA player growing up?
Len Bias.
Len Bias?
Let me say Len Bias. He still was in the NBA to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Len Bias. Len Bias.
For sure. All right, well, that's pretty much it, man, as far as the 10 random questions. Just want to get right to it, man. Like I say with all the legends, man, I just, you know, I want to give you the freedom just to kind of tell your story. I can already tell that you're, you know, a really good storyteller. Just go by, if you can just reintroduce yourself to the people and just take us back to where the Dante Bright story begins, and we'll just start from there.
Well, it started back in East Baltimore. You know, I lived down the hill. I played basketball in the alley. Then my best friend, we call him Black, his name is Edward Harrington. He was like, man, we got to go up to the rec. You got to go up to Oliver. I was like, Oliver? He's like, yeah, you're going to play ball. So I was like, cool. You know, I got permission from my mom because, you know, my mom and dad wasn't together at that time.
Okay.
So she was like, well, your coaches is your coaches. You know, I'm working. You know, do what you got to do in school. Like you said, I'm allowed you to go up there, you know, to try for this basketball thing. And so when I got up there, a coach named, rest in peace, Bucky Lee. Whoa, man, it was like, you know, nothing I never seen in life. You know, the father figure, an uncle figure, a big brother. More important, he was a mentor, and he installed mental toughness. I was tall, I was quiet, you know, I was shy.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? But I always had that fire in me. You know, I
Gotcha.
always had that look like, you know, you come at me, I'm going to come back at you.
Of course, of course.
You know, I was just laid back and stayed to myself.
Uh-huh.
And Bucky Lee seen something in me in practice one day, and he was just like, man, I'm going to stay on you. Because I believe in you. So I never seen you play, but I just seen just little stuff that you do. I wasn't awkward. I was coordinated, and that was the first thing he said.
Gotcha.
He said, but I'm going to challenge you mentally. When I heard him, you know, call my best friend Black, he was like, he called him a little B because he wasn't working hard. I just like looked at him. Then I looked at Black. I called him one back. And the Buck was like, all right. All right. He said, you know, that's cool. Black came back to practice the next day, and it was like, you know, but he went to him, you know, apologized. He told me, he's like, you know, when you get down, he said, I say things. He said, I don't mean, he said, but I just want you to, you know, to work hard. He said, I should have said those such words. He said, but I'm going to take it back. He took it back. Then from day on, you know, he had us. You know, we've run through a brick wall for him. Like I say, he installed that mental toughness. Preach, like you say, band in shape. You know, if you're in shape, you know, anything is possible. You know, it's like if your opponent, you see signs of weakness in your opponent when you bend over on your shorts.
Of course, yep. You
know what I'm saying? Just slag and just walk. He say, even if you tired, just fake yourself out. Just walk off the court, sprint off the court.
Yep.
So how much that just demoralize your team? Like I say, Bucky Lee was the man. He's the one, like I say, he the one got me started with this basketball.
Got you. At what point do you feel that you kind of fell in love with the game? Like you were introduced to it, and you had a great mentor. He was teaching you a lot of things. When did it take off for you inside, where your fire was like, yo, this is my path right here?
Beyond, I played at the Boston Bengals Classic. That was a tournament. I think it might have been on the outskirts of Philly.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison was in that tournament.
Wow.
You know, a lot of the top basketball players back there, I just don't remember all the names. And I played 10-12. I played with another team, Madison Buccaneers. That's when I switched rec centers because I wanted to have an opportunity to go out of town because I heard about, you know, at the end of the season, they could usually go out of town somewhere.
Yeah.
I got up there. I won MVP in the 10-12 level.
Okay.
All right. You know, it was pretty good basketball. That right there gave me a lot of confidence. For one, it's like you didn't do it in Baltimore. You did it in another city.
Yeah.
Another state.
You took your show on the road.
And then for them to recognize you as being the most valuable player. But at the end of the day, I never was worried about no accolades. As long as my team went, like you say, everybody looked good. But that tournament right there, playing out there in the Boston Bengals Classic, like I said, it was on the outskirts of Philly. That's what gave me the confidence. Like, look, you could play this game and just go at it and see what happens.
And when did you start to realize you were pretty good? Like, you got the confidence now. At what point did you start to realize that you were pretty good? And then you start to realize that you were becoming a little bit better than some of your peers around you, you think?
My 9th grade year at Dunbar.
Okay.
You know, I was telling the freshmen there, you know, I'm gonna play varsity. You know, they were looking at me like, oh, nobody, no freshman play basketball head. Like, man, is you
like, was that unheard of then?
Man, that was
to play varsity?
For freshmen.
Okay.
But I mean, if I'm quite sure it was other freshmen, but like he might have been Terrence Alexander. He was my freshman year. He was a sophomore. He was the other guy that played 9th grade when he was varsity.
Okay.
Did a lot of time, but he was really good. And so, like I said, I was telling the student, they was just like, man, whatever. So like 100 kids, you know, come out, cuts was made. You know, get to like the last couple cuts. You know, I wasn't involved with them cuts. And then that right there, just learning from like Spencer Ringo, with Charlie Hurts, David Lewis, Dietrich Williams, guys like that, you know, I did pretty well. I thought I should have started. I won a game my freshman year at Cotton State. I think we played against Southern Bulldogs. They had a guy by the name of Craig Tyson. He played in Arkansas. Then my sophomore year, that's when Michael Lloyd came, my cousin Keith Booth. No, Michael Lloyd was a sophomore with me. Keith Booth was a freshman.
Okay.
Then we had Cyrus Jones, we had Terrence Alexander, we had Paul Banks. So we was young. We wasn't supposed to do anything. We was going to get smacked. You know, everybody was, you know, with Dunbar. It's their time to get that Dunbar.
Yes.
So they had young thoroughbreds down there that, you know, we didn't care. We did not care who was in front of us. If you was bleeding, we was gonna kill you. That was just different
Like
level.
piranhas.
Man, worse than piranhas.
Yeah.
So after my sophomore year, I got Player of the Year, and
Wow.
then I got invited to Nike camp after my sophomore year, but I didn't attend because I had to go to summer school.
Okay. Wow.
It was important.
So what year did you get? So after your sophomore season, you got it.
Sophomore year, yep. My
After your
sophomore
sophomore season, you got
year,
invited to
I got
Nike, but you
invited to
couldn't go. You
Nike.
had to go to summer school.
Had to go to summer school, and
Wow.
my road dog, Mike Lloyd, he was just going up there. I don't know how he got it, but he got that spot.
Wow.
So he took he was in place of me. Then the next year, going to the junior year, after my junior year, going into my senior year, that's when I got Player of the Week at Nike camp.
You did.
Yeah,
Wow.
I got
Yo,
Player of the Week.
that's crazy. And then the camp was a week. Was that like a week
It was a
long?
week camp, yes. Yep.
Okay.
I had SAT prep, you had lectures, the do's and don'ts, the things that, that's going to be ahead of you that you might not know that's going to be ahead of you, that this stuff that you're going to see. Real life situations, had skits that make you think. But, I had a pretty good week down there, I went in top 25, came out top 5.
Wow, that's crazy. And them camps, we're definitely gonna talk about the camps a little bit more down the line. But that was, before that you can go online. They had like the ESPN
Right.
rankings and stuff. When you go to the camps, that's where you got your national rankings and
Right.
stuff, right? That's where it happened there, right?
And plus playing at Dunbar, because after my junior year, we only lost one game. We was ranked like number 4 in the country.
Okay.
So had we not lost to St. Anthony's at St. Peter's in New Jersey, we'd have won back-to-back national championships.
Got you. Crazy. Hey, so I want to take my time. We're gonna go back and talk about the high school stuff again. I want to just hear some memories and all that kind of stuff, memorable games, and then we're gonna talk about the camps and all that. But go right real quick. For the younger generation that did not see you play, describe what type player you were, some of your strengths, things you did well, and what type of performances was you putting on to get player of the weeks and this and that. Like, what I'm saying? What was your game like?
Mostly growing up, I mostly played inside.
Okay.
But they had the ability to put the ball on the floor.
Okay.
From ninth grade year to 10th grade year, I just got better. From 10th grade to 11th grade year, I got better. Then from 11th grade to 12th grade, I just kept getting better. I wasn't no flashy guy. Somebody come up there, dribble the ball like 10 to 12 times, do something. You want to dribbles, I'm going to get at you. I'm even going to get by you, shoot, I'm going to pass the ball. I'm just going to play basketball. I ran the floor. Multiple ways. Like you said, a lot of people say, what is the truth? My strength wasn't shooting threes, but, you wouldn't leave me open. I had to take a lot of them. I just had to hit them.
No doubt.
But my real strength is my mid-range game. I can post up in my mid-range game.
Gotcha.
I didn't have no skill trainer. I just played basketball, and I just watched. I just watched basketball. I just studied, and I just started going to the park and just started just doing that, just basic stuff. Then after that, then I just worked on my weakness, like you say, as far as like shooting, from the 3-point line and stuff like that. But like you say, man, it don't matter where you started. It's like where you went. Everything you do in between, start and the finish.
For sure. Hey, so I want to section them real quick. First, before we get to the high school stuff, talk about some of the like in Philly, they had like 16 Susquehanna, summer leagues, and 33rd and Diamond and Parkside, like legendary summer leagues, the outdoor leagues that when the outdoor leagues was real popping back then, and I'm sure they were the same in Baltimore. Tell me about some of your most memorable any summer league memories, guys you played against, just legendary things that happened in the summer leagues before we talk about high school.
Then that's where you turn boys to men right there. Because
of course, that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
14 and 15, I was playing 19 under in the assemblies, and also got a taste of that unlimited, playing against guys that was in college, guys that was overseas, maybe 1 or 2 pro players.
Wow.
It was grown men. That was back then. When you cut across that lane, you get in that form like you on the football field.
Exactly.
Fouls. So they was grown men down there. So the Dome was one. The Midnight Madness. Oh, that was crazy. It's just like any hood. You got to watch yourself. Everybody's out. Everybody's out. You got everything going around, and that basketball game that got everybody's attention.
Yes.
You had Cloverdale. That was over West Baltimore. another adult league over there, man. We was the only high school team to play in the adult league, and we did well. We won a couple of championships.
Wow.
You know, we did, yeah. What else? Lyndhurst, it's another one over in West Baltimore, down in the little hole. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be men going in places like that because, like you said, it ain't no punks allowed.
Yeah.
It's grown man. It ain't about no name. You know,
Right.
the neighborhood, that's when they itching to get at you.
Yeah.
You know, that's when they get their break time with you. You know what I'm saying? They want to see Dante Bright from who.
Of course.
My thing was everybody like, man, look like he's soft. I should be laughing in the inside. Ain't say words on the court. My play spoke for itself.
That's right. Hey, what's at least like one thing that you remember, you know, in barbershops all across Baltimore, what's like one thing that people may still talk about from like those summer leagues? Like, yo, remember such and such happened to summer league, or somebody got crossed over, dunked on, just anything from like a summer league memory that you may remember still.
Kevin Norris, you know, he's the assistant coach at the University of Central Florida, down there with America, Lake Clifton. He was the show. His handles was sick. I mean, he was and1 before and1 started.
Wow.
But he also knew the game of basketball. When I say everybody wanted to tune in to see him. Also, Michael Lloyd.
Who's that?
Michael Lloyd.
Yes. I heard a lot about.
There was two guys that you really want to see in the summertime because Mike gonna dunk on the free people. And Stank gonna throw lobs. He gonna throw behind his back. He gonna cross. And if he cross you and if you fall, you got people running on the court. So you know what I'm saying. Like I said, I get on big props. There was two guys that you definitely wanted to see in the summer league.
Yeah, I hear a lot about Michael Lloyd, man. God willing, I can get him on the show as well. I reached out to him. How good was he? How good was Michael Lloyd, man?
Mike was a grown man. Mike was before his time. Mike was a grown man, and Mike was a bully. And if you come in there playing soft, he's gonna let you know. He's gonna talk shit. He ain't worry about your feelings. If he can beat you out your shoes, he's gonna beat you out your shoes. I done seen that happen in camp. I done seen him beat guys out their shoes.
Wow. Crazy.
I done seen guys back down from him. I done seen big guys back down from him. But that Michael Lloyd, man, he was a different beast.
Yeah, it's funny.
He was different. He was different.
Yeah, it's funny. Exactly how you described him is what I've heard from everybody. Like the same description, man. Grown man, bully, just had crazy game, man.
He would not lose. He hate to lose. He would do anything to win. Anything to win.
No doubt. So transition into high school. So start over and just anything that you remember from high school, any big games, you know, big performances, you know, the championships, anything, however you want to sum up and you know, sum up your high school experience, man, at the legendary Dunbar. First for you going to just describing your experience, what was it like? So was that like your like that's a public school, Dunbar?
Definitely a public school.
All right, so that was going to be your school regardless. Like, was that you was going to Dunbar?
Actually, this the story.
Okay.
So Dunbar was the only school trying to get me coming out of middle school.
Okay.
So after I graduated, I had the grades and stuff to get into Dunbar, but my transcript went to Patterson High School.
Oh, okay.
I was like, nah, I didn't want to go to Patterson. Then it went from, I don't know how it went to Patterson from the start. Then it went from Patterson to Lake. Lake wasn't a bad school, but I wanted to get to Dunbar. So I'm like, that's all I heard of, you know, and Dunbar was going to give me a chance. I didn't get in Lake. So like my first week high school, I didn't even attend high school. I didn't have no school.
Wow.
I was sick because my transcript kept getting passed from school to school.
You.
So, you know, politics.
Of course. And what, just tell me what it was like, man, just knowing that you were going to be playing for the legendary Dunbar. I mean, with the legacy, with, I've seen, I didn't know about him back then just because the internet wasn't popping, but like, you know, the Baltimore boys, you know, Muggsy Bogues and all those guys, just the history that Dunbar had. Like, was it that pride? Did every kid want to be a poet back then? Or was that the thing? Like, yo, I can't wait till my turn comes, or what?
If they ain't said, I believe it. I know I want to be a poet. You know, and like you say, Dunbar, that was a gateway to get to college. My parents ain't had no money for me to pay to go to school. And so Either gonna get one through the books or gonna get one through the ball.
No doubt. No doubt.
So and they both go hand in hand, you know.
Of course. Of
But
course.
man, that Dunbar, man, it's like you're in the NBA, like a rock star. You can't go nowhere without nobody knowing that they them guys that play for Dunbar. I don't care where you at in this town. So if you're doing something wrong, somebody gonna report it.
Of course.
You in certain areas, somebody gonna report it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, I was down the hill where I was born and raised at, and that was the area where, you know, area you shouldn't have been. But like I said, if I go outside my area, it's gonna be the same thing everywhere.
Uh-huh.
You know, the same social ills, no matter where you go at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this was fortunate, like the dudes that I was around, they kept me away from a lot of stuff. Once again, I was shy, like I say. When it was big crowds for me, I just walk off, just go to, you know, just go to the court, or go to my crib. You know what I'm saying? But at the time, looking like they was my big brothers, like you say. My parents, we ain't have a whole bunch of stuff. You know, like I said before, you know, I had 2 1-year-old kids in the 12th grade. See, people, like you said, yes, so I was different on a lot of different ways.
Got you.
You know, I got to feed 2 kids. I'm a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Mom ain't got a lot of money to feed. It was 3 of us, plus my 2 kids.
Wow.
So, yeah, you know, so I had friends, you know, that looked out. That's just how I went.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was fortunate to have those type of friends to look out. Like you said, you never know what it turned out.
Of course.
Basketball was an outlet for me. Like I said, being that Dunbar, it just opened up, like I said, and just get back to saying Muggsy, what Muggsy and them did, Reggie Lawrence, Reggie Williams. Yeah, it's pressure. Because I went out the gate. You got to be good out the gate.
That's right.
Tomorrow. And so me, man, I'm so naive to a lot of stuff. Like my demeanor, I was just like, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was my approach. Like you said, I was even killed. You ain't know if I was high, if I wasn't. How low. You know what I'm saying? But you know, like you say, once they jumped that ball up, I was right there in that pit.
No doubt. So what are some of your most memorable Dunbar experiences, man? Just memorable games, players you played against, big games, anything about your high school experience.
I got the opportunity to go to Hawaii twice as a 9th grader and as a senior.
Wow.
My 9th grade year, we played Oak Hill. Man,
wow.
Best team I ever seen. Had Anthony Case. He's like 6'9", 6'10". He was like a Kevin Garnett back then. Had a big Chris Dinkins, about 6'8", 250. Had Gandhi Jordan. He's like 6'7". Played at Pitt. He was a small forward. They had Mike Boyd, probably one of the fastest guards I ever seen. He probably had like a 48-inch vert. Played at West Virginia. They were just all the way around the board.
Wow.
And they beat us by like 40, 50 points, man.
Yo,
man, I was just like, wow. And I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
I took all in. I hold my own. It wasn't much I could do. I was a freshman. Like I said, I was naive to a lot of stuff, so that stuff ain't phased. I wasn't worried about no Oak Hill. I was felt good because I had a pretty good game.
Of course.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see them again.
Uh-huh.
And then we just kept getting better. My sophomore year, like I said, my freshman year, it was all right. You guys wasn't really committed all the way.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The seniors. My sophomore, Michael Lloyd, Keith Booth came down. I'm like, okay, I got my guys with me.
That's right.
You know, so I know what was in that pit. And then it took off from there, man. Like you say, just winning a bunch of big games as sophomores at Dunbar against schools that we weren't supposed to beat. And guys were supposed to be destroying us. And then we coming out with first team all Metro. My cousin, I want to say he made second or third team all Metro as a freshman.
Wow.
Had a year. And so then we got Cyrus Jones that played at West Virginia, Paul Banks, University of Texas, Arlington. So, you know, we had something. We was forming something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it was things, like you said, it ain't happened overnight.
Mm-hmm.
We took our bumps and bruises and just kept getting up and just kept getting better. Then like our last 2 years, we just took off.
Yeah. What are some other big games or just anything you remember that was crazy?
Oak Hill my senior year.
Okay.
Played him in Pennsylvania. Jeff McGinnis, Stacy Castle, I want to say Chris Davis. He played at Arby, played in the league. Had Martise Moore. They were stacked. I did say Stacy Castle, Jeff McGinnis. They were stacked. They had about 10 high school All-Americans on there.
Crazy, crazy. I
Went
mean, Jeff
toe to toe.
McGinnis. I mean, there's some names right there, man.
Yeah, we went toe to toe. We went toe to toe. You know, we beat Simon Grax with Rasheed Wallace.
Yes.
Fred.
And where was that at? Usually my man is on the broadcast. He played for Gratz during that time. He knows all the history as well. But where and when was that Gratz game?
We played Gratz down in the beach ball class in Myrtle Beach.
Got you.
I'm at the buzzer.
It was at the buzzer.
It was at the buzzer. Yeah, I had a putback in off of my cousin Keith. She a little mid-range he missed. I had a putback.
Wow, that's crazy. So the Gratz team, what year was that? What year was that? That was your senior year?
That was my senior year.
That was 93, 92?
92. That was Rasheed junior year.
Yes.
That was junior year.
Okay, yeah, 92. That was Sheed's junior year. Yeah, wow, dog. I already know that game was classic, man. Both teams had legends, man. Like, I already know that joint was crazy.
Yeah,
man.
we beat in that same tournament. We beat St. They had my teammate at UMass, Dana Dingle, and Kareem Reed.
Wow.
It had a whole bunch of talent on that team. We beat them the game before. Jason Kidd team was down there.
Yo, that's crazy, man.
Georgia 7-foot Twins, their team was down there. What else? We beat Harker Prep. We can take that back to white. We Harker Prep. They had Serge Wicker, X-ray hit.
Serge Wicker was my guy. That was my man.
Yeah.
Legendary right there.
We beat Memphis Fairly. We beat them. We beat them bad in Hawaii. They had Sylvester Ford that played at Memphis. Man, we beat them real bad.
Wow. So y'all were playing like y'all wasn't just, y'all was playing a national.
We was traveling. We was traveling based off what Muggsy Bogues and them did.
Got you.
It's just that when we got there, that's when we caught all of it.
Of course.
Now we was rolling. You had the right team to match that type of schedule.
Of course.
We played out in the St. Louis. We beat Vashon out in St. Louis. They was ranked in the top 25. We beat them real bad too. It was just so many games, man. And it was just so many games. We played.
Who was the local rivalry in Baltimore? Who was like one of y'all local rivals that y'all enjoyed? Games always packed, standing room only, all crazy.
Lake Clifton.
We
sold out every game we played at Morgan State. We sold it out.
Wow.
Standing room only. It was probably like a couple thousand. We couldn't even get in the game. It was that packed. Lake Clifton. They had Shante Rogers, Kevin Norris. At one time, they had Ron Lucas that played at Kansas State. That's where all the other guys that, that was pretty good at that time. They went. Also Southern Bulldogs. They had Kwame Evans.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, you had Walbrook with Tremaine Porter. He was a 6'6" 3-man, who could shoot, could do it all. So where we went, we played Southwestern. Scrappy team, man. I ain't never seen no team scrappy like that. Up in their gym, and we got out there with a win, man. It was tough. It's a tough gym to play in.
No doubt.
It was grown men.
No doubt. What are some of your career accomplishments? Like I read somewhere that you were 1 year, I'm not sure if it was your junior or senior year, you were prep player of the year. And just what are some of your accomplishments, things that you accomplished throughout your high school career?
All right, so I got City Player of the Year twice. I got Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Maryland. First team All-American, all the magazines. I got Eastern Magazine Prep Player of the Year. McDonald's High School All-American. Got MVP in the Capital Classic. I made, like I say, first team All-Mat in Baltimore City 3 years in a row. Yeah, that was about it. A bunch of MVPs and different tournaments. Like I said, that we played at different high schools, different nationally ranked high schools. Got MVPs in most of the tournaments.
Crazy. That's dope, man. So we're going to talk about the McDonald's game, but before that, I want to talk about the camps. When I get guys, especially that was doing it back like in the 90s and everything, I love to talk about that era because that was prior to like nowadays everybody's playing AAU and all that kind of stuff. That takes up everybody's time. But back then it was like the Nike camp, like you said, Adidas camp, the ABCD. What are some of the camps that you played in? And who are some of the players there when you were playing? And then anything that you remember from those experiences?
The main camp, like I say, Nike camp was the biggest camp.
Okay.
The only other camp I went to was the 5-star.
Okay.
5-star was everything. That was probably one of the biggest camps back then, besides Nike. I played in the super sophomore week. I came out number 1 or number 2. Number 2 camp. You know, I had the luxury of playing against Grant Hill.
Wow.
Terrence Rencher, all the New York guys, you know, a whole host of guys, like from Philly. Like I say, one year, man, Rasheed Wiles won a championship together.
I think I saw. I think I saw that picture.
The picture.
I saw that photo. Yeah, I saw that.
Won a championship up there together. That's crazy, right?
That's dope, yo. That's hot. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So, like I say, Michael Lloyd, Remy Clemens that played at Clemson. It was so many guys, you know, to shock the shit. Man, there's so many guys. Like I said, man, I don't want to name names and leave everybody.
Of course.
It was so many guys. Like I say, man, I respect everybody that, you know, that I ever played with. Like you say, man, I just, like you said, we just want to just compete. Like you said, man, boys, you just sit in this house, these magazines and stuff. Like, you know what we're going to do, just mark them off.
Listen, nowadays, like, you know, it's funny how kids get starstruck. You know, they see they're going into an AAU tournament and they see, oh, they go such and such. I seen him on Instagram. He got 1 million followers. You know what I'm saying? All this and that. But back then, it was no social media. It was just rap. You know what I'm saying? So how was it coming into the gym? Like, did you know everybody, or was it like, or you just at the camp met, you know, you just met guys at the camp and found out later, oh, that was Grant Hill, or you know what I'm saying? Or you know,
back then, you know, they had that Sports Scholastics. They
yeah.
just show, they show like the different the best players around the country like every week. So man, Michael Lloyd, every week we in this house watching it, just would stand up, wait for that to come on.
Yes.
And we knew, like you say, the Hoop Scoop.
Yeah.
Go to stores and buy different magazines and stuff like that.
Yeah, just go to the back, look at the rank, look at the names, little articles.
So we know, like you said, but we always heard about 5-star, like all the players, you know, usually, you know, meet up there. And so when we got our chance to get up there, then, you know, y'all was from Dunbar. Yep, we from Dunbar, Baltimore. So
that's right. We're gonna show y'all what we do.
There you go. That was it.
No doubt. Tell me about the whole your experience with the McDonald's All-American game. Oh, somebody said shout out to Roper Doper, the magazines. Yeah, we just said that, man. The magazines was everything back then. Street and Smith magazine. Like, you get the magazines, man. It was like ESPN before ESPN. Looking at the magazines.
Exactly.
First off, looking at who was on the cover, and then looking at the rankings part, and then the little art. That's where some people found out who, like, Felipe Lopez was for the first time. And then magazines, like, you know, they weren't on TV. Games weren't televised. You know what I'm saying? So the magazines was all that, man.
Everything. You had the magazine, like you said, you was up on everything. You're not gonna be surprised because, like you said, the magazine gonna tell you everything about that player.
Of course. But yeah, tell me about your McDonald's All-American experience. You know, when you first, you know, realized. Okay, did you realize that you were on a path to becoming the McDonald's All-American? Did you realize that was a possibility for you?
Well, coming from Nike camps, after Nike camp.
Okay, so you realized that was a possibility.
You know, that's when you start handing stuff, you know. Then I'm like, okay. And so then, like you say, with us, winning the national championship, that helped too.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
You know, one of the three-headed monsters on that team, you know, because it wasn't all about just me. I wasn't even leaving score.
Okay.
So, you know, like I said, I played my part. Like you say, if you play your part, your team win. Like you say, everybody going to get what they supposed to come to them.
That's right. So tell me about
man's accomplishments. You cannot do that.
That's right. Tell me about your McDonald's All-American experience, man. What that week was like for you and some of the players that were in the game with you, and just, you know, anything that you remember from that experience, man.
Man, that was everything. Then to play with Michael Lloyd, you know, my teammate.
Dope.
You know,
both of y'all went to the game. That's classic right there.
You know, to sit back and just talk about, and then for that to happen, you know, like I say, rest in peace to Martise Moore, Tony Delp, Chris Davis, Roderick Rose, Jason Kidd, Othello Harrington, you know, Steve Edwards from Miami, 6'7", two guard, Greg Simpson from Ohio, played Ohio State. Third Swicker played in the game. It's just like you said, Carlos Strong that played with Georgia. It was like, man, like you said, you got to bring your A game. Like you say, you might not score, but like you say, ball players know ball players. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a big scoring game, but like I'm saying, I played, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Ball players, no ball players. They all-star games.
Mm-hmm.
All-star games, you're going to dumb it. Some all-star games, you're just not going to test the rock like that. That's just how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
But it was great, man. Like I said, that was the best, man. That's like you said, put you on another platform. Now everybody's gunning for you.
Mm-hmm.
See, now you got to be ready for that next challenge, because once that's over with in high school, guess what? It's another level to
No doubt.
it.
No
Definitely.
doubt.
Man, definitely. I still owe them because I never finished my preseason conditioning as a freshman. It was
Got you.
it was brutal, man. I never been through nothing like that.
Crazy. Hey, speaking of that, tell me about the college recruiting process, you know, for yourself back then, what it was like, some of the other schools that was recruiting you, and then what ultimately led you to choosing UMass.
Well, the recruiting process, man, it's crazy, man. It's like, man, you get calls all hours of the night. You know,
And
sometimes,
back then there was no cell phones; they was calling the
right?
crib.
Yeah, sometimes I'm about to leave the phone off the hook. You know, it got crazy. You know, pop ups at your schools, pop up at certain games. You know, then you know you get people saying, "Well, so and so was asking questions about you." I'm like, huh? But it
Wow.
was like, yeah, man, it was crazy, man. Like I enjoyed it. Like it's experience, you know. Um, when you put yourself on that plateau, you do good things like that happen. Like you say, for schools to come out and want to recruit you, give you a scholarship, man, that's a big honor, man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had Clemson on the radio. Me and Michael Lloyd visit Clemson. I visit St. John's. Rest in peace to Malik Sealy. He was my host.
Mm-hmm.
St. John's, Ohio State, um, UMass, and Towson State. You know, it was a local school. We had connection with Coach Jim Mills, who was the assistant coach. He used to come to all our games, all our summer league games, just somebody that you could see in the community. So, you know, we gave Towson State a chance, you know. But the reason why I chose UMass, it was an up-and-coming school. It wasn't a real big school. And I knew I needed to work on my game.
Yeah.
You know, I was a realist. You know, I knew I could play, but I still need to work on my game. I wanted to go somewhere where as though I didn't want to get recruited with, you know, because I knew going in I was going to sit out.
Gotcha.
They signed Dana Dingle. That was fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I knew what type of play he was. He was the same type of players, you know. But just getting to understand Coach Calipari is one thing. Getting to understand how to work hard. Because you might think he's working hard, but his heart is on a total different level. Then, like you say, he was a young coach. He was trying
Uh-huh.
to make things. And Coach Billy Bano, who's the assistant coach for the Indiana Pacers, he was the reason why I went to UMass.
Okay.
Man, he beat me on my home court in East Baltimore.
Wow.
The park where I play in front of all my homeboys and was talking shit too. You know what I'm saying? So I looked at him, you know, he was young. I
Yeah.
don't think he probably 30, wasn't he 30 years old? So I looked at him like a big brother,
Uh-huh.
Caucasian, but he
Mm-hmm.
was cool.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I told him that I was gonna give him a shot. You know, so then I had to call Ohio State and Randy Yates because they was on me heavy.
Okay.
You know, so you know, and I gave him that call and told him, you know, I appreciate, you know, y'all recruit me. You know, everything about Ohio State, you know, was 100.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, you know, I fit better.
Got
And
you.
advanced up and coming school with a coach that's fire that's going, he won it just as bad as you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did pick you, man.
Got you. Got you. What was your biggest? So tell me about the transition. I heard about the, you know, just doing some research, like a Prop 48 thing. Kind of explain that, and either before or after that, just tell me about like what was your biggest, the biggest transition going from the high school level to the college level, for you.
The biggest transition was going from East Baltimore to Amherst, Massachusetts.
Yes.
Basketball is basketball.
Yeah.
That was the biggest difference. Like you're saying, you meet people from different cultures that, you know, you don't see in your neighborhood.
Got you.
You see predominantly, you know, blacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, you get around other cultures, get to understand them. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got to adapt to your environment. And, you know, and I think I did that well. You know, I knew I was coming as a prop. You know, I had a big name. Everybody knew who I was on campus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, I had the pressure on me just
Mm-hmm.
based off what I did at Dunbar. But I knew I had to get better because, like you said, it's different levels to it. And
Uh-huh.
sitting out, it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot. You know what I'm saying? I buckled down in the books. I really like got down, just settled down, just like, you know, if I don't do this, I'm going back to East Baltimore, and that wasn't in my plans.
Gotcha. Explain, if you can, take 1 second. Explain the whole Prop 48, what brought that about, just so the younger generation understands kind of that process, and then, you know, what caused you like to not play right away. Just kind of explain that for the younger generation.
Well, the Prop 48 was based on because with my SAT scores wasn't high enough to qualify. I had my GPA. My GPA was fine. It was just my SATs. I missed by like 100 points. It wasn't that I didn't prepare myself. Nobody did it. It wasn't no coach's fault, no teacher's fault, no tutor's fault. It was just me, like all the stuff that was on my plate that that I didn't let nobody know. A lot of people didn't know. You know what I'm saying? People that was close to me knew there was a lot on my plate. Like I said, I had 2 kids in 12th grade, 2 1-year-old kids.
Wow. You mentioned that earlier, but
Yeah.
here, pause real quick, because I forgot to talk about that. And you can explain it in any type of way, but so you had 2 children in 12th grade, and I commend you, man, because it's a blessing that you continued. I don't know what things were going like, you know, what they were like behind the scenes, but to hear that, you know, of course, you have 2 children and a young father, young Black father in the inner city, but you continue with your goals. You graduate high school, you go off to college, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, you continue with your goals of the things that are going to, you know, make a better future for your family. You know what I'm saying? So I commend you on that. But what was it difficult, or and what helped you through that? Did you have a strong support system, or what helped you through that experience?
My mom was great. It was times where I wanted to quit. I just wanted to stop and just, you know, handle, you know, taking care of my kids, because there was a lot of pressure on my mom. Like I said, it was 3 of us. Man, I had 2 younger sisters. You know what I'm saying? So she was working 2 jobs, but, you know, back then you wasn't making a lot of money. You know, she didn't graduate from college. But she always worked, and she always worked hard, and she always put herself last. And I just followed that path. Told me, she said, "You getting out of here. You going to college.
Yes.
Stick to what you're going to do."
Yeah.
She said, "I'm going to help you with the babies." She said, "And you already told me your homeboys got you." And so I couldn't take no food out my kids' mouth, my mom's mouth, my 2 sisters. So it was days, like you say, that I didn't eat. You know what I'm saying? But you'll never know, because like you said, I didn't go out and crowd with spilled milk. Like I said, once again, I made that bed, so I got a lot in it. You know, they're my 2 kids, like you say. And like I said, I don't fault nobody. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you just go through a lot of days. It's just ups and downs, ups and downs. That basketball was my outlet.
Gotcha.
Basketball definitely was my outlet, man, because it was many days I was just like, I can't do it. It was just like, felt like the world was on my back.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm a fighter, though. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no temptation to go ahead and do anything crazy. I just had to refocus myself at an early age.
Got you.
I did. Then, like I said, I got, you know, the things that I did in high school gave me an opportunity to get out so I can see something different.
So now fast forward, you know, go back into the whole Prop 48 thing. You said the SATs, you missed it by 100, and then kind of, you know, go from there.
Oh yeah. So after that, that's when so like I said, I already knew that I was gonna have a 700, you know, to compete as a freshman at UMass. So the next route was junior college or go to prep school. Junior college was out the question. I didn't want to go to junior college. I thought about MCI, but somehow Coach Cal convinced my mom that he don't need to do that, because he figured if you go there and he gets an SAT score, UMass was going to be out the picture.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, like I said, I stuck with UMass, and like I say like my first week of school, just getting up there, not knowing nothing about college, man. Don't know nothing about college. I'm just here. You know, I got there like 2-3 days early. That's crazy. You know, I'm stuck. I was in the airport in Connecticut. It so happened Jeff Miles, he was 7 foot on the UMass team. He was coming in from another flight. So we rode like an hour back to campus, and we had to get all settled in. And then, like, you know, I'm just looking around, walking around campus, trying to get familiar with things. It's just like, wow, I'm just like in a different world, you know, peaceful. So now it's like, man, you got to grow up now.
Yeah.
You have to by yourself. Your boy's not here. Your mom's not here. You know what I'm saying? So I just, like you said, I just worked hard, you know, during my prop year, which was very tough. You know, so but like I said, I stayed focused by working hard in the classroom and just worked hard on my game.
Yeah.
I couldn't be around the team when you're a prop.
You couldn't be around the team. Wow.
You couldn't attend practice.
Wow.
You know, I used to go lift weights with him. That was the most I could do. I couldn't go on the road. I couldn't go to games. I went to home games. But I found a good intramural team, you know. Some guys that I ain't know, you know, but they was pretty good basketball
I
players.
know you was probably intramural legend.
Yeah, I was playing. Yup, I was playing. I was a regular student then. You
Of
know what I'm
course.
saying?
Getting in with your
I was
homies.
a partial. I was a partial qualifier, so I was a student.
No doubt.
So I had fun. Just kept me in the flow of things. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it wasn't the competition was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't nothing like where I was supposed to been at that time. But you know, it just
Yeah.
kept me focused. You know, so I got
What did you do? What did you do? How did you spend that time working on your game to make sure that you were prepared? You know, you can't work out with the team. You can't, you know, get that type of that level of rec. But how did you keep yourself prepared during that school year and then the summertime to prepare you for your home, you know, for your showing?
Well, I
Your
had
coming out party, I guess.
it was another former player who stayed up there. He stayed like another year so he can finish up his graduate. His name was Antoine Brown. He just worked me out all the time. You know, we just work on my jump shot, ball handling. He was just trying to let me know what to look forward with Coach Cal, what type of Coach Cal is.
Uh-huh.
Then once again, he told me, he said, he's hard. He said, I'm telling you, he's hard. He said, but once you get over that part, whereas though you think he's beating you down, but he's just trying to push you to be the best you can be, he said, you're going to be fine.
Got you.
And it felt right in place. At first, I was confused, like, man, you just for saying all these good things about me. Now you saying this, you saying that. You know, so I'm like, man, like you switching up on me already. I ain't even put the ball in
Now
the
that we
back.
got you here, now we switching up on you.
Yeah, but you know, he was just testing me. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't great.
Yeah.
You know, it was one thing about him too. He was always worried about me coming home for summer breaks.
Okay.
He never wanted me to come home for summer breaks, like you said, because the things that was going on at this time.
For sure.
And so every time I come home, stay on for like a week or two, when I get back on campus, man, he was relaxed.
Yeah.
Like man, he taught me a lot. It wasn't just him. That was Coach Bruiser Flint from Philly.
Yep. Bruiser. Yep.
He's another big supporter. Man, another great coach. Coach Billy Bano. You know what I'm saying? That was a great coaching staff, and he had the right type of guys that fit his type of system. It's not the same system that he run with Kentucky. We totally different type of ball players.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, real quick, I think this is the perfect time for us to take a break. We kind of closing on our first hour. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to just end this one, save it, and then about 30 seconds to a minute, just come right back.
Okay.
You know, send me another request. We're going to pick up right from there. Just want to let all the fans, all the supporters know that are checking the story out, man. You're now in tune to the story of my man, Dante Bright, just taking us on his journey, on his hoop journey, man. We're here paying homage to his legacy and everything. Come on right back. He's going to, you know, I'm going to ask him to continue to talk about his college memories with the legendary UMass, playing with Marcus Camby and all those guys, man. Talk about life after college. And had you, you know, drop some gems on the people, talk, you know, some keys to success for the younger generation, all that kind of stuff, man. So everybody come right back. Oh, also, we're going to have a nice little Q&A. So everybody that's tuned in, we'll let you guys, you know, type some questions if anybody has any questions for Dante Bright. So we're going to tune out. We're going to come right back for part two.
All right, bet.
Yep. Hey, what's up? Still your boy Big Star. We back. Legends Week with my man Dante Bright, who was a part of the legendary Dunbar Poets, played alongside his cousin Keith Booth and my man Michael Lloyd. Now we back with part two. We're gonna talk a little bit about his UMass days. Here we are, and beyond. Hey, so we're gonna pick right back up. So take me through your entire UMass experience, man. You guys were a part of like the, you know, I guess, you know, some of the golden years of UMass. You know, great records you guys had, some great teammates. Just break down the experience, if you can. First tell me about some of the teammates. You know, just name some of the teammates you played with, and then just kind of just go through your experience any way you want to.
Well, I didn't play my freshman year. Harper Williams, he set the tone. Tony Barbee is assistant coach right now at Kentucky. Harper Williams will always be legendary there at UMass. He coined the term warrior.
Gotcha.
You know, that's where they came from. He was relentless, 6'7". He jumped a little bit, but I mean, he was just tough. He was the type of player, like you said, that fit the mold with UMass.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Rowe.
Lou Rowe was my
Another
guy,
warrior,
man. My
rebounding
guy, Lou
guy.
Rowe was a beast.
Yeah, rebounding guy. He was a leader. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else who set the tone. And Mike Williams. I always say pound for pound, Mike Williams was the best player that I've ever seen at UMass.
Wow.
That's the guy who used to hit the game-winning shots on Temple.
Yes, yes, that's
By
amazing.
far, his man, he should have been in the NBA. He had that much talent.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Camby. You know, we
Yeah.
call him Big Youngin. He was a late bloomer, but he
The
was
big young
tough.
boy. He's a big young boy.
He was long, man. You know what I'm saying? Dana Dingle. You know, somebody who was Mr. Versatility.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrone Winks, another big rebounder. You know, it just the guards, Edgar Padilla and Carmelo Travieso. You know, they was
Yes.
tough. Dark Kellogg, you know, another leader. You know, somebody else who set the tone for what we did in 1996.
Yeah. So take me through your experience, you know, once you finally get on the court. Okay, before you talk about your experience, help me to understand what was going through your mind. See, you have a year off. What was going through your mind and your heart? Were you nervous, you know, before you came out of that tunnel for the very first time? And then when you first heard your name for the first time, did you start? Or you came off the bench when you first?
It was like I started. It was like on and off my sophomore year.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, I got the jitters was gone after Midnight Madness.
Okay.
Midnight Madness, that got everything. Everything was out. You know, my adrenaline was going. You know, I was nervous the whole day. I didn't know what to expect. You know, so like I said, it was my first. You know, so you know, when I heard my name come up that tunnel, I was like, okay, I arrived.
Yeah.
You know, so now you know it's time to get down to it. You know, now you got to honor the scholarship.
That's right. That's right. So talk about your UMass experience. Tell me like just any memorable game. Let's break it down. First, what is some of your most memorable games at UMass that you played?
Every game against Temple.
Yeah. Recall a couple, few things you remember.
The incident with Coach Cowles and Coach Chaney at UMass. The game was going back and forth. Like you said, they wasn't going back down. We wasn't going back down. We were the same type of players.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, a call went here, a call went there. The game could have went either way. That game after we played Temple, again down at Temple, after that incident at UMass, leading up to it. It's going to be this, it was going to be that. You know what I'm saying? You got police escorting us, you know, to practice and all that stuff. But, man, we were just basically like, man, let's just get to it, man. You know what I'm saying? We were just as pumped as, you know, Philadelphia at that time. You know, like I said, before we got to the game, like an hour before the game, it was already sold out. It was up. The gym was packed. You know, so we beat Arkansas coming off their national championship. We beat them in Springfield, Massachusetts. We beat North Carolina when they had Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, Jeff McGinnis, Brian Reese, Dirk Phelps, Eric Montrose. We beat them in Madison Square Garden.
Wow. Crazy, dog. That's legendary right there, man.
Yeah, so we can get no, I didn't beat Kansas. We lost to Kansas out in California. You know, playing against Maryland. You know, playing against like the Rhode Islands against Sean Colson and them. You know what I'm saying? So that A-10 was thick back then, but like you said, we had the motto that we're gonna play anybody, anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And Calipari, he installed that in everybody.
Yeah. Who are some of the toughest players that you think you played against back then that you had to guard?
In college, Eddie Jones. I give him a lot of props. Aaron McKee was tough, but they was two different type of players.
Uh-huh.
Eddie Jones was an athlete. You know, with a lot of skills. Aaron McKee was in that mode like, I'm a pound, I'm gonna beat you down. He could shoot. His IQ that was crazy.
Uh-huh.
Roderick Rose, Dirk Anderson, Tony Delt, Antoine Walker, Joe Smith, John Wallace, Keith Booth, Shantae Rogers. The list go on and on, man. We played.
Y'all played Maryland. You said
we played Maryland, yeah.
So you played against your cousin. You played. What was it like playing against Keith Booth? And everybody who doesn't know, who just tuned in, Dante Bright and Keith Booth, the legendary Keith Booth, are cousins. So what was it like playing against your cousin? UMass versus Maryland.
I mean, to me, it wasn't nothing because we did that on a daily basis in the park. you know, in the
Yeah.
alleys growing up. So it wasn't. I mean, it was a big build up for everybody, you know. But me and him, it was just another game. We was trying to, you know, win for our schools.
Of course.
I'm up 3 games. I'm up 3 games. He beat me 1 game. He put me out of the tournament of Wichita, Kansas. But I beat him here in Baltimore. I beat him in D.C. and also beat him in Springfield.
Got you, got you. Hey, real quick, go back, man. For people who don't know, I think it was a big part of the 30-30 series. They had a 30 for 30, or it was a 30 for 30, or one of the ESPN something
Right.
documentary with, you know, talking about like with Calipari and you know, Coach Temple, John Chaney. You said the incident. So you were on the team during that incident.
Yeah, I was there. I was in the interview. I stood
Yeah,
up. Everyone had a little black leather jacket on.
yeah,
And walked
yeah.
past. Coach Chaney
Talk
came
about it real
through.
quick. Talk about it real quick from your perspective, because some of the viewers, some younger generation, they have no idea what you're talking about. Explain that day. Explain that game from your perspective.
Like I said, the game could have went either way. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking Coach Chaney might have thought, like you said, the ref might have, you know, gave us a favorable cause because we was home. And at that time, like you say, UMass was beating Temple on a regular back then. You know, Temple was the king of the A-10.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a team, UMass, that came from the bottom, just kept rising. You got another coach in Calipari who was cocky.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I looked at him like he was an agitator, just poking.
Yeah.
Just poking. That's how I took that.
Yeah.
Like you said, we didn't back down. You know what I'm saying? When you don't back down to the king, you know, things could happen. Like you say, but, you know, a lot of respect to Coach Chaney, man. He's a legendary coach, man.
For sure.
That could have happened to anybody. Like
Mm-hmm.
you say, man, he's going to go down the history as one of the best coaches ever, man.
For sure.
And he teaches life skills.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's what I respect. Like you say, he hard-nosed. He's Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I respect. Like they say, man, we got a lot of respect for those guys, man. The media blew it up. It wasn't nothing, man. It was just like 2 universities that was just playing hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things like that happen. Sometimes things do escalate, but
Of course. And you said, I gotta go back and watch it now, because you said you was in the interview. You was in the little film.
Yeah, I was there. I was in there. I seen it all.
That's what's up, man. Any other things when you think back, you know, on your UMass days? What's one of the most fun experiences, the best experiences you had there? You think that you'll never forget?
Just being able to reach new heights, like you said, UMass. You know, then I went to a Final Four. I played in the Sweet 16, Final 8, and Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was the height of college basketball. That was in the era where it was really thick. Everybody had squads.
Yeah.
Everybody. So plus we was a mid-major, going around knocking off the big dogs in the Power 5 schools.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you know, that was everything. You know, that also gave us, like you said, a lot of confidence.
Uh-huh.
Say, you know, early on, like you said, as a sophomore, junior, going into my senior year, the work that we did my sophomore, junior, that's what led up to that senior year. They just took off, man.
Got you. Hey, what was it like having you know, like in high school, you playing at Dunbar? I'm sure you know Mom Dukes was at all the games, your homeboys and everything. Tell me about one of the first times. How many games did your Mom Dukes get a chance to make up, and then your kids as well?
Well, my kid, they was babies at the time when that when that was going on. You know,
Yeah.
they remember that.
Yeah.
But my mother, she came up to a couple of games, especially when we played locally. Like I said, man, we ain't have a whole bunch of money, man. Like you said, and I'm the type of person, man, I'm not gonna ask nobody for nothing, man.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
what was one of the first games that you saw Mom Dukes in the crowd, and then what did that mean to you, and you know just what was that like seeing Mom Dukes in the building?
I mean, it was everything. I mean, I'm like this, man. I try to have tunnel vision. You know, I try to block out, focus on the game. But like I said to my mom, that was everything, man. Like you say. Even just like you say, just being at the game, a live college game, seeing your son on TV. You know what I'm saying? Seeing your son accomplish one of his goals, like you said, to get out of East Baltimore, get the opportunity to get to college. You know what I'm saying? Plus, like you say, she pushed me the whole way. Like you said, with me having 2 kids, I needed my mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I needed that. Like you said, I was confused a lot of times, but she was somebody to just go to. You can sit down and just talk for hours.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit down and she tell me what it is. Map
Yeah.
this out, and you're going to overcome a lot of stuff.
Got you. What's something that you took away from Coach Calipari? What's John Calipari? What's something that you learned from him that you took either into your life or just from that experience, basketball wise, something that you learned from him?
Refuse to lose. no matter what. You know what I'm saying? You gotta always keep fighting. Just because that door not gonna open, that door not open at this time that you want it to open, it's gonna open. But when it opens, you gotta be ready and prepared because, like you said, how many other kids, how many other guys want to go through that same door? If you next up, you better get through there. If you get in there, guess what? It ain't no pressure. All the pressure was to prepare. You prepare, so go ahead and do what you gotta do to get what you want. Like I said, it's refuse to lose. I still go by that motto today. That's why, I work so hard with these kids with this basketball training, you know what I'm saying, with this conditioning, just sit down, just talking to them about, life skills. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm not a myth. I'm not out here, doing bad. You know what I'm saying? I still look like, I can still play ball, So, like I said, I just try to just give all into these kids, man. Like I said, eventually, like I say, the next couple of years, I want my own building.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. I definitely keep that in my prayers, man, because you definitely, have a good heart. I can tell, man. So, things like that need to happen to individuals like yourself, because I know that you'll do right by it and you'll really take advantage of it and you'll really help the community with something like that, man. So, I'll definitely keep that in my prayers for you, for sure.
Appreciate it.
For sure. Hey, so tell me about life after. What was life like after UMass? Was you obviously was your eyes set on the NBA? How was that transition? Did you have an agent? And then what was life like after after UMass ultimately?
After UMass, it was talks, about the second round, low second rounds, which was cool. Then I had a couple of teams overseas that offered me contracts, so. But my ultimate goal was to play in the NBA. I went out in the pre-draft camp. I did pretty well. I was the second leading scorer for small forwards.
Okay.
And I said, but at that time, that's when you had a lot of underclassmen was coming out, high school like Kobe. Like you said, we was all in the like in a little medical room together. You know what I'm saying, taking measurements and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? He talking to me like, man, I watched you play, but you know what I'm saying, I'm looking at him like, man, but you that guy though. You know what I'm saying? You got to respect that. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
At the age, you know what I'm saying? If you can hoop, you can hoop.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, I got a chance to go like 5 different countries. You know what I'm saying? I played in Argentina. I played in Finland. I played in Belgium. I played a little bit in Sweden. I played down in the Dominican Republic. I played in Honduras. And I played in Mexico.
Gotcha.
And so I just like take my experience and, like I said, just bring it back to the next generation. Next crop of kids, that's trying to, do something with themselves. Like you said, I never knock nobody for what you do. You do what
Of
you do.
course.
You know what I'm saying? I always tell the kids, stay in your lane. As they say, just mind your business. Stay in your business and you find walk with your head up. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, focus on your grades, like you said, especially if you play a sport, because like you said, if your bookwork is straight, the football, the baseball, the basketball, that's going to be the easiest part because that's what you want to do.
That's right. Hey, what here, go back real quick. You said you had during like the whole like the assessments and the vertical this and that. You had experience. You crossed paths with Kobe. How much experience did you have? As crossing paths with him.
Just conversation, because he didn't have to play. He was already set at that time.
Oh, gotcha.
He already, you know what I'm saying, he was already set. But it was just through conversation. We was in there just getting out measurement.
Okay.
Quick, like 5-10 minutes.
Okay, gotcha. So you weren't like you didn't have like you wasn't playing against them or nothing.
Oh like no, he didn't play. He just came for his measurements and he was out.
Oh, no doubt. That's what's up. So tell me about your what was it like? Okay, at what point did your professional playing career come to a close, and then how did you? I guess when did you know when it was time to say when? Like, how was that was it an injury, or did you just say, what, it's time to transition to something else?
I just felt like it was time to do something different. You know what I'm saying? And I was like 28, 29.
Okay.
I wasn't mad about basketball. It helped me get out of East Baltimore. That was first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? Getting a scholarship, just being like the first in your family, to receive a scholarship or to go to college. You know what I'm saying? So after that, you know what I'm saying, it was just like, what's the next chapter? What you want to do?
Yeah. Was it easy or was it difficult? Was it easy to close that chapter of your life? Being as though you've played ball all your life and that's all not all, but that was a major part of your life. Was it easy to close that chapter and transition to something else, or was it difficult?
Nah, man. I mean, it was hard, like you say, because you still want to play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I knew at some time, like, man, you know, this is getting old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Each year is a new crop of kids coming in. New crop of
Yeah.
kids coming in. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you're not like one of them big thugs overseas, or if you ain't got that right type of connection, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get that lick that you want.
Got you.
And so it was like you saying, man, I wasn't, you know, bad off or nothing like that, but you know what I'm saying? It was time to do something different. Like I said, I always wanted to work with kids. I didn't know what two capacities. Then I got into the school systems. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I work with the juveniles, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
kids, juvenile delinquent. The kids ain't supposed to be, you know, it might be in jail or supposed to be doing it, because I was one of them kids that was supposed to be dead, supposed to be out here doing X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it was another reason that I needed to get back to Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm a Baltimore guy, man, and it wouldn't be right if I didn't come back and spread the wealth.
No doubt. Do you think that, how God works, nothing, there are no mistakes, nothing's by accident. Do you think that that was your calling to kind of come back to the city and, work with the youth, work with the juvenile delinquents, kids getting in trouble? You feel like that was your calling, and what is that doing for you, being able to, work in that environment with the kids?
It definitely was, because I went to Boston because I went to Boston to get myself together. Like I said, I wasn't out here doing anything wrong. I was just, just hanging around. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, like you say, it's cool because I wasn't doing anything wrong, but it's just not a good look.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm moved to Boston. When I went to Boston, because I didn't touch the basketball for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Then I just got back into basketball. And I just started playing, started working back out. And then I'm just like, you know what? That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I had to find my love back for the
Of
sport.
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know
That's
what I'm
cool.
saying? So I started playing in local leagues up there. That's where I really started training kids at. I had a couple kids up there that I would train at the youth center. Then I started lifting weights, just get myself back in shape.
Yeah,
And that's what it took off just from Boston, Bingtown. That's my
that's what's
second
up.
home.
That's awesome, man. Um, I don't like to use the word regrets because, just like I said, I'm a man of faith, and God's plan is perfect in every way. But when you look back over your story and your journey, are there any things that you wish you could have done differently or changed, or are you satisfied with kind of how everything played out?
What was going to happen was going to happen. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I don't have no regrets.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I wish I had like a big brother. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had that person that was over me, But like I said, I wasn't no bad kid or nothing like that. I just felt like I needed like that big brother figure.
Gotcha, gotcha. Hey, two more questions, and then for anybody that's tuned in right now, if you guys can start, if you guys have any questions for Dante Bright, we got the legendary Dante Bright here, one of the Dunbar poets, McDonald's All-American, a part of legendary UMass teams. If you guys have any questions for him, start typing your questions right now in the comment section. I'll pin them, and as he sees them, he'll answer them. But I just got two more questions before we kind of wrap up. When you think back over your journey, man, what is your journey? What is your life? What have you learned from your journey, from your basketball journey, life journey? What have you learned as you kind of process your life?
Life is about ups and downs, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is good when they're at their highest point. How do you function, when you come down, when you start declining, start going down?
Mm-hmm.
Some people can't handle that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Some people so used to being in the limelight so much. What's the next step? When they stop calling your name, they stop offering you, when they stop wanting autographs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When people just walk past you, they don't even like, well, what's up, Dante? They don't even say nothing to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, with me, man, I just, like I said, I always wanted to work with kids, man. So I need to get back here. You know what I'm saying? I can't save every kid, but I know I'm saving some kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm like every day with it. We skill training, the basketball, we outside doing conditioning. During this time, I know it's tough, but we taking all the measurements, and the procedures, to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're doing these times right here, just gonna let you know, what if everything opened back up? And nobody gonna be ready for nothing, because like I said, we just sit back, man, laid back, not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's draining our mentals,
Uh-huh.
getting
For
us back
sure.
in the lazy stages.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Hey, if you could touch on something real quick again, one of the big themes or something that comes up, and I always like to highlight it. Few individuals like my man Donnie Carr, played with LaSalle.
Yeah, I know who that
And,
is.
he mentioned his when he had his knee injuries, and and just, you know, what took him out of the game, and then him going through like a depression, and you know, a few other guys where, you know, they got thrown some curveballs and they got taken away from the game. And, you know, whether it's an injury or, you know, when you said you're not in the limelight no more, people ain't calling your name. Some people go through like a mental thing where it's like they just can't handle the pressure. They kind of go to a dark place. What's some encouragement that you may have for somebody that is experiencing that right now, or experienced it, man? You know what I'm saying? I mean, legends where now, you know, ain't nobody calling you. It's not about you, or injury took you away from the game. What advice would you have somebody in that situation?
What I did, man, I just like it was just, man. I look at it as I think it's like individual based. You know what I'm saying? You got to be strong mental. Like you said, if you got to have that strong support team. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I went to Boston. I got back in love with basketball. You know, basketball saved me. You know, coming from Baltimore City. You know what I'm saying? Gave me an outlet. Like, once again, to get to college, get opportunity, get a chance to play in the NBA, to get a chance to go overseas for a couple of years. And so I wasn't going to be selfish by not feeding back the information to the next generation here in Baltimore City. Not just here. Because I just recently had a kid come from Boston down here named Lord Rob, like a week ago, for the weekend for basketball training. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just kids here, just any kids. Like you said, you gotta get with your mentor. I don't know, a basketball coach, somebody you can sit down, somebody can listen to you instead of, like, as adults, we always got all the answers instead of just listening to the person going through the problems.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? You got, like you say, and don't keep it balled up, because when you keep it balled up, when it come out, it's gonna come out on the wrong person, and anything can happen after that. Like I said, like I said, I always had my mom as, you know, she was my go-to person. But like I said, with me, I just got back to my love, and that was basketball, man. No doubt. That's why I go so hard today, man. Like I say, I want to see these kids succeed. Like you say, I don't care. You might not make your high school basketball team, but guess what? You in shape. You getting ready. If you're in high school, if you're not playing those sports, 9 out of 10, you might be working. So you're gonna need that type of energy. Put it into your work field.
That's right.
Just watch yourself grow from there. Everybody not gonna make it in the sports world. Like you said, so many different outlets out here, man. And like I said, I'm just grateful that, you know, I got the energy. You know what I'm saying? I got the stamina, you know, to keep pushing myself. Like you said, if I push myself, the next kid gonna push me. So I'm like, oh, I'm working out with Coach Dante, man. Coach Dante,
that's right.
Man, you could tell he cares.
That's right. That's right. One of my last questions, man, I'm speaking about the kids, and we got our first question. You'll get to that right after I ask my last question. Speaking about the youth, man, if there's any youth watching this that are going to watch it, you know, now or on YouTube when I post it, just speak to the younger generation, man. Any advice you have for them? Any keys to success? Kids trying to get recruited, or just anything? Any you know, advice for younger generations, man, trying to get to where you were?
My thing is, like you said, it's books and ball with me. Like you said, you got to hit the books. Like you said, if your books is clear, then everything else going to fall in place, man. And no matter what you're going through with your home life situation, like you said, I told you I had 2 kids, man. Just stick to the script, like you say, man, because whatever you put in is what you're going to put out. And if you ain't putting in enough, you're not going to get nothing. Ain't no rewards going to come at the end of that tunnel. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to work hard at your craft. I don't know what your craft is. You just got to work hard and get better every day at what you do, on and off the court.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna say my thank yous in a minute, but I'm gonna get to these questions right here. I got a classic, a really good question by my man Lackey. Lackey actually played on the Gratz team that you were talking about. He was on there during those years. Lackey says, how was it going up against Gratz in '92 in Johnstown at the Beach Ball Classic, a classic, you know, classic chip game? He said he's trying to get those games. What was it like going through, you know, playing in that game, man, against Gratz?
Man, it was tough. Like you said, every game I played against Grants, man, like you said, they took us down to the wire. I mean, they was well coached by Coach Ellaby. You know, they had great play. They had great chemistry. You know what I'm saying? I know we was a year older than them, probably a little bit more experienced. Like you said, at the end of the day, they was tough. Like I said, the Philadelphia kids. And Rasheed Wallace.
No doubt.
What got to say no more about that?
And you said she was a junior then, correct?
Correct. But I also played against, we played against she. In the summertime up at LaSalle, they had Turkey Mark, Alvin Williams, Rasheed, Jamal Redman, Fernan Hand.
Free Hand, Meatball Hand.
Meatball, that kid, man had so much game. Yeah, we got a chance to play them up at LaSalle. And then, matter of fact, I don't know who was on the team that came from that Philly team, but I know Alvin Williams, Rasheed, Tyrone Weeks, some more players. We got into a brawl down here in Dunbar in the summer.
What? For
Yeah.
real?
Chairs was thrown and all that shit, man.
Whoa, for real?
Yeah, for real.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, for real. But I mean, like you say, nothing came out of it because, like you said, we went right up to LaSalle probably like another month later. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, right there, we knew that respect. They're like, damn, they down here doing shit like that. They just like us. You know what I'm saying? But no, we always had, like you said, mutual respect for guys from Phil, like you say, because, man, y'all compete well, man. Y'all bring it.
For sure, for sure. What was it like, man, just seeing that for you? What was it like seeing that ball? You know, one of my questions, just another question that popped in my mind. What was it like seeing the Baltimore boys, that documentary about Dunbar, man? What was that like when it came out?
And that was everything, man. That was history. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, now like you said, everybody get to see the Muggsy Bowles, the Reggie Lords, that dynasty that they had, you know, with Coach Wade, and the obstacles that they had to go through. You know what I'm saying? The trials and tribulations. Like you say, man, everybody got a different story, but all the stories are almost similar. If you're coming from the inner city, you know the obstacles that you got to go through. Just getting up in the morning, just leaving out your door, just getting to school. A lot of, like you say, a lot of athletes didn't eat, didn't have stuff. Like you say, so they stuck to what they sport, and that was their outlet. But that team probably one of the greatest teams ever, man.
Yeah. Did you were younger? You were about like I was doing the math on the years. You were probably like 6, 7.
Yeah, man, they was, man. I never seen no game.
Okay, so ain't nobody say you never saw it.
No, I never seen no game. But I got an opportunity to play against Muggsy. We played in the same summer league team. We played in the Urban Coalition.
Okay, wow.
I played against David Wingate. You know, played against David Wingate. I had R.I.P. to Reggie Lewis. Antoine Brown is friends with Xavier McDaniels at the time. Reggie Lewis and they were with the Boston Celtics. I was supposed to be working out with Reggie Lewis, but unfortunately, you know, R.I.P. to him, you know, with his situation. I was supposed to like stay in Boston, you know, for the remainder of my time at UMass and not come back to Baltimore. Like I said, he was gonna have me working out with them. And got a chance to come see him in the Boston shootout. That was my first time ever meeting him. And then he was like, man, you know, I know who you is. I know you're going to be up this way. So we exchanged numbers. We kept in contact. I went to a couple of Boston Celtics games and stuff like that. Like I said, we was on pathways, though. I was going to be in Boston for the summertime when I was supposed to go home just to work out with them.
Got you. That's what's up, man. Great memories, man. Great relationships over the years, man, through hoops, man. If nobody else has any other questions, man, we're going to my man Lackey also said Bootney.
Yeah, Bootney was tough. Yeah, he ain't lying about that.
Yeah. And who is that again? His first name? Bootney?
Yeah, he was tough. He was tough. He from D.C.
Where was he from?
D.C.
Okay, gotcha.
Logistic, yeah, he was tough. Scoring machine.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of D.C., did you guys, was there any, like, you know, like times y'all traveled to D.C. and played, you know, some games in D.C.? Who are some D.C. guys that you ever went that was tough that you remember playing against?
Just said Bootney. You just said one of the guys right there. Like you said, it's so many guys over there. Moochie Norris, Kirk Smith, Headache. You know what I'm saying? You had Donald Ford. You know what I'm saying? You had so many guys. Victor Page played, but like I said, at that time, I was young. I was like 14, 15, so I was probably 15, 16. I was probably one of me and my cousin Keith was probably one of the youngest kids to play in that Urban Coalition because like you had pros, guys that was already in college, stuff like that. You had different street legends. You had Greg Jones, played at West Virginia. He was tough.
Got you. That's what's up, man. Well, hey, I appreciate your time, man. Just want to, say my thank yous, man, as we close out. Just want to say thank you so much, man. For I know how valuable time is just for carving out this, hour and a half. Let me hear your journey, hear your story. Thank you for your contribution to the game. Thank you for so much entertainment and everything that you've put out there, throughout the years, man. Thanks for all the wisdom and the gems you've given, here on the platform. And thank you so much for all the things that you're doing with the kids, man. They definitely need an individual like you in their lives, kids who don't have father figures, don't have mentors. Thank you for stepping up and assuming that responsibility, man. And I'm keeping that prayer on my list for you to have your own gym in the future, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Like you said, we got each other now. Let's stay connected, man. Conversate anytime, man. We got to get up with each other. We're right down the street from each other.
That's what I'm saying, 100%. Oh, and I'll be going to once things get back safe and open back up. I was going to some Saint filming some St. Francis games. I was going down to St. Francis a lot. I was at some Mount St. Joseph. Is it
Mount St. Joe? Mount St. Joe, yeah. I know we over there in Irvington, St. Francis, East Baltimore, by the jail.
Yeah, I was going to a lot of them games, so I'll be down there, man. We definitely got to connect and link up, man.
There you go. I got you locked in, man. I got your number locked in.
For sure. Hey, real quick, I guess people threw a couple more questions at us before we tune out. How was it playing against Mike Williams at UMass, and what year was your favorite year?
My favorite year was definitely with '96 year. But Mike Williams was the best player to me, pound for pound, the best player at UMass during my time. No
doubt. And my man Lackey said also, he said it was a guard that played for Towson
Towson Catholic.
Yeah, he was about
that's
6'5".
See, I don't know at that time, but that's the school Carmelo Anthony went to before he went to Oak Hill.
Oh, was it?
Him, Malcolm Delaney, Dante Green, they was on the same high school team at Towson Catholic. It was a Catholic school that closed down.
I didn't realize that. I didn't know. So Melo was there before he went to Oak Hill.
Right. Yeah, Melo lived in West Baltimore. I didn't know Melo. Mike and Carmelo, they real tight.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Michael Lloyd.
Yeah, Michael Lloyd Melo, they real tight.
Wow. I got to try to link. I know Melo's still grinding. He's still busy. I got to get him on the show to talk about the old school, man. It's God willing, he lining up. I can make it happen, man.
I got you. I'm going to take care of that.
I appreciate you, man. That'd be a blessing, man. Well, just like I said again, man, I can't thank you enough, man, for everything that you're doing. We definitely got to stay in contact, man. Any last words, any shout outs? Oh, another question I had. I forgot, my fault. Who's some young kids, man, that you're training, that you're working with, that are like, maybe either in high school or that I kind of need to, keep on my radar down in Baltimore?
Man, it's so many kids. Who Justin Lewis, he just left Poly. He's going to be at Marquette next year.
Okay.
Got Ace that was at St. Francis. Check him out. He's gonna be at VCU. And man, it's so many kids down here, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I'm not in tune with all the top-notch players. Like I said, building my own program. Yeah. But I got some stuff in my litter, man. But we ain't worried about that right now.
I know that's right. Man. Well, God willing, I'll get down there, man. Be able to meet. We'll be able to come, meet face to face. I'll be able to come check out some of your kids, man. Come throw the camera on, man, and
there you go.
Big star in the building. Come show some love down in B-more, man.
Man, let's set it up, man.
For sure. But hey, any last words, any shout outs you want to give, or just any last things you want to say before we close out?
I just want to say, man, thanks for reaching out, man. And it was a privilege to be on your show, man. Like you said, if anything I can do to help you, man, I'm here, man. Like you said, man, I could tell you genuine. And then when you said Lennard's story, reached out, and it was a no-brainer. You see what happened?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, for sure, man. I'm just so thankful, man, because all I want to do is just all I've ever done in my life is just want to help people and want to support people, encourage people. And, this is I'm in love with the old school, man, and I just love, my opportunity to be able to pay homage. I mean, this is stuff like this is on my bucket list, man. Sitting there watching UMass games in the 90s. Now I'm sitting here with Dante Bright, man. You made my day, man. I appreciate you.
Man. I appreciate it, man. Let's make it better. Like I said, stay connected. Maybe, like I said, I can do something up in Philly, but you can set it up.
For sure. Done deal.
Stuff is over with.
For sure. For sure.
All right, we got that, man. I'm going to return the favor, man.
I appreciate you, man. And you can help the stars align to get Melo on. That'd be a blessing as well, man, for sure.
Man, you have to talk to Mike. Mike probably can do that. I'm quite sure.
No doubt. Well, God willing, I get Mike Lloyd on. I mean, yeah, I get Mike on. He was on the show, and we make that happen. But regardless, we're gonna stay connected. We're gonna, definitely gonna make it happen. All right.
There you go. 100. Peace.
All right, big dog. Bless you, man.
All right, too.
Yep.